I can't now. I can't go into it. Okay. There's something unique about Jewish teachings, Jewish values, that you don't find in other paths, and other faiths, and other ways of living. And that is to find the divine, to find the holy, to find God. You're always, getting out of this world. You're moving to a higher plane spiritually, leaving behind the materiality. So you go on top of the Tibetan mountain, gaze your navel, hoping to find something divine. Right? You give up of the material world in order to be more spiritual. Jewish life is expressed more, and in particular, in the physical. We don't remove ourselves from the physical or within the physical. And in order to bring a sanctity into the physical environment, to make a dwelling place for God in this world. That is the ultimate purpose, which is a theme that's brought across over and over again in Hasidic teachings, to make a dwelling place for God in this low world. That is the divine request, the divine motivation for a physical world, not to leave it. So we're not working so we can get a better future in the Garden of Eden when our soul leaves this world. So I can have a better place there. Every other faith and religion, and you can even have this aspect in Jewish teachings also with Hasidic teachings. You might mistakenly get that notion of I'm working towards a better future. So some people work for a better future for their family, in business, in work, or in doing good for the world, for a better future, right? So spiritual future. And then there comes Jewish teachings and says, no, create right now a dwelling place for God right here. That's your future is right now. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We continue in the fourth essay. And in this essay, the Alter Rebbe is speaking about the virtue, the superior quality of practical mitzvahs done with a physical object, like the esrog, lulav and esrog, like tefillin, and all the mitzvahs that are done physically, and even those that are done that have a spirit to them, like Torah learning we're doing right now, or prayer. It's a spirit. Prayer, you do not fulfill your mitzvah of prayer if you do not pronounce the words, if you don't move your lips and say the words rather than just read it and feel it. You don't fulfill your mitzvah. So it's the action-oriented mitzvahs that is greater than even my personal love and awe of God. It's very counterintuitive. You would think the love and awe of God, can there be something more than that I come to experience? Now, of course, the love and awe of God in the mitzvah itself is the ultimate. But we're now contrasting the love and awe of God like you're at the Grand Canyon and you are just moved by what you're experiencing, and it brings you to a real love and awe of God. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's unreal. Compare that, though, to taking a simple dime and putting it into a charity box at the Grand Canyon, or putting on film with another Jew at the Grand Canyon who is in awe of the Grand Canyon, but, not doing a mitzvah, but you do a mitzvah with another Jew, or you yourself do a mitzvah, like giving charity, let's say. It's incomparable. That physical act of the mitzvah compared to the love and awe that you're feeling for God at the Grand Canyon. Yeah. I don't know why I chose the Grand Canyon. I've never been there, so it's not something I've experienced. But, some people, they say that that's what happens when they go. Right? So now he's given many arguments in the previous classes of why this is the case, and he continues with it to explain. Even a soul, a lofty soul, that comes from the world of Atzilus, right? It derives from the vessels of Atzilus. Very lofty soul. And therefore, they're intellectually motivated love and awe of God. In other words, we're talking about here a love and awe of God that's not just, not just a feeling, but it's coming from intellectually motivated. You're sitting at the Grand Canyon and you're thinking about the awesomeness of God as creator, and the creator of what you see before you, and the spiritual worlds be above it, that how that led to this physical world. And whoa, that's really something, right? Says but that leads us to an elevation, right? And that's what we're humanly want, is to kind of get out of our situation, get out of our predicament, get out of the craziness of the life before us, right? So it's an elevation. An elevation, however, that could be in a state of departure. Meaning the soul is kind of going up. But it's not fulfilling the purpose. Because the purpose is not just in love and awe of God, right? That brings us up and outwards. But it's about bringing it down and expressing it in here, the here and now. That is greater, right? That we bring the divine light into this world. That is the purpose. And that can only be done. The only way you can bring the divine light into this world is not through the generated love and awe of God that generated by my awareness, my understanding of God, and my sense of God's presence and whatnot. It can't be done that way. You can't bring down the light into this world. You can ascend upwards, but you can't bring it down here. The only way you can do it is through a physical act of a mitzvah. Through the physical act of the mitzvah, that elicits that light from above of God, and it brings it down into this world to bring us an attachment to God, not just for ourselves, but to the physical reality over here. And that's the ultimate divine purpose. The ultimate divine purpose is that there should be an elevation through our act of doing an action down here of a mitzvah that elicits on high the world of Sag, or the name Sag of the divine letters, the divine name of God, as we explained at great length yesterday. Sag is 63, right? As we spelled it out, that it brings that awesome light from above from the world of Tohu, the world of chaos, which is a lofty world, and it brings that supernal light down here, reveals it down here. And that's much greater than the inferior light of you going up. Because when you're going up, it's sort of like the light of you, the soul of you going up. But that's departure, because it's not taking the body of you at the same time. And this is the idea, actually, we have this concept, Shabbos and Yom Tov. Why is Shabbos begin when Shabbos begins? Is because there's an elevation of the world. The world is elevated. But we just said that it's all about bringing the light down. There's going up and going down, absolutely. So the going up, though, is the vessels are going up in a state of elevation towards the supernal light that's above, to a greater light above. So in that respect, yes, it's greater. Because the world is being elevated, but not just the light of the world is being elevated, the vessel of the world is elevated to a greater light. And therefore, that's why Shabbos begins when Shabbos begins, because there's literally an elevation of the world in such a time. Now, we're not so privy to that. Righteous people can be aware of that, as the world is literally changing, as the vessels are having what's called aliyas ha'olamos. But it's not an elevation that's departure, meaning because it's only the light that's going and the light is sort of leaving the vessel. In a way, when you see a flame of a candle, right? And sometimes you see that flame, it disappears because it left the vessel, right? It left the vessel, which is the wick holding it. So the soul can leave by the experience of a love and awe of God. It can leave, but that's missing the purpose, right? Which is, by the way, parenthetically, the experience that the Alter Rebbe had with his study partner, the Malach, Rabbi Avram, who was the son of the Mizitcher Maggid, when he first came to the Alter Rebbe in 1764. When he came to him at the tender age of 19, he was already a Torah scholar of renown. But he came to the Mizitcher Maggid to learn more about the mystical and the prayers, to be much more, in-depth prayers. So they studied Hasidic teachings together. The Alter Rebbe was a thief. He stole time. How do you steal time? Well, they had so many hours that they would learn Hasidic teachings, and then they would learn Talmudic teachings. He would take the clock, turn back the hand on the clock in order to give more time for Hasidic teachings. The Malach was called the angel, because he was more heavenly than he was earthly. So they were once studying so deeply that their soul was ready to depart, that they ate a bagel with butter kind of to ground them. Because ultimately, now I meant about elevation of the soul and departing, right? The light, the soul beyond. That's not the purpose. So even when Shabbos is an elevation of the world, it's the vessel of creation that is rising, having an aliyah to a greater light above. That's what's happening. So in conclusion for today's class, the Alter Rebbe says this is why Moshe Rabbeinu Moses offered 515 prayers, which is the equivalent of the word Eschanan, right? And he prayed in order that he'd be privileged to enter into the Holy Land. Why? He wanted to do that because then he would be able to fulfill physical, practical mitzvahs with the material world. Many mitzvahs that are only found in the land of Israel, like giving Truma and Meiser, right? Tithes from the land and the the separating for the Kohen of the land, and the many, many laws that are particular in the land of Israel that are expressed in a physical action. And that's why you want it, because ultimately it's about drawing godliness down and not about the elevation of the soul upwards. And even when it comes to the laws that we study, which are, you might say, spiritual, abstract, they're not physical things, but the laws that we study concerning those physical things that we have to do, they also need to be uttered. They should be expressed. Because if you don't express it, then it's you don't have the full commandment of the study of Torah, the mitzvah. Because through the expression, you're drawing down the light of God into this world. So what do we have over here is a very important and profound idea that, again, Kuntres Achron repeats many of the ideas that we've learned previously, bringing it to a new dimension of understanding and appreciation, deeper understanding of other sources in Torah that would, might either be a contradiction or need greater elucidation. And the natural, so it comes out as that the natural instinct of a person is who wants to get close to God, who wants to have a relationship with God, is to remove yourself, remove yourself from a material physical world, remove yourself from the physical body, and be more soulful, and have, so to speak, a elevation, which is in this sense a departure, that you're in a soul experience, right? Standing at, again, whether it's top of the Tibetan mountain, whether it's the Grand Canyon, deep down, high up, and you just feel, oh, wow. So, you through your understanding and appreciation of what's going on around you, and especially if you can tie it into how that comes from the spiritual realm into the physical, and you understand the active creator within creation, and that just gives you a wow that your soul is in a state of departure. It sounds great, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is a departure. The purpose is to bring into this world the light of God. And you know what that really means? It comes down to one important point. It's not about me. If it was about me, then it's about the feelings that I have. And the feeling of being in a state of departure, of elevation, of sensing, feeling, bliss, divine bliss. That's about me. And that's human. And that's what people seek. That's not Judaism. That's not Torah. And it's most specifically not Hasidic teachings. Teach us much. That the intent, it's not about me. It's what I'm needed for. And I'm needed for to draw the divine light into this world through the simple act of a mitzvah. Now do that mitzvah with love and awe of God. That's great. Of course, that's the ultimate, to have both things come together. But we're contrasting, your appreciation and intellectual awareness that leads to a feeling of love and awe of God, right? And that's it. It only leads to that. We're comparing that to the physical act of doing a mitzvah. And that was our discussion. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Wasn't this what Aaron's sons tried to do? Yep. They wanted their souls in a state of departure. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Any other questions? Any other comments? All right. I guess we have clarity. Guess what? Rambam is coming. All right. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining. God bless.